Hi, I'm Johnny and you're watching the Hexy Beast. And on today's episode, I'm going to be doing a quick review of this game right here, 12 Dice. Anyway, let's get this one to the table. So this is 12 Dice. 12 Dice is a roll and write strategy game set in the 12 universe. Seize the best opportunities offered by the dice, and make your mark on the history of the city. It's a really simple game, and I'm going to get into it right now, so let's just get it open. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when setting up for 12 Dice is to get the board and the plaza tokens. Then we're going to make sure that our round tracker is on round 1, and then we're going to distribute these tokens around the outside of the board randomly, just like this. Then you'll need to get the score pad, the 3 transparent dice, and the 1 black dice that are in the box, and set them aside. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 at random of these festival tokens and place them on any of these tiles that have the same colour. As you can see, there's an icon that tells you what colour they are when they flip. So this one would go here, one would go here, and one would go here. So these are now on the outside as I described. And because it's our first game, what we're going to do is we're going to write the numbers 1 to 6 in these boxes, like so. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do that for all 3 of the boxes. Just like this. And now we're ready to start the first day. Okay, so the goal of 12 dice is we're going to roll these 4 dice, and then we're going to place them around the track. So each round has a day cycle and a night cycle, and then we'll move the spinner forward. So we're just going to roll these 4 now. And as you can see, we're going to place them in ascending order. So that's 1 on there. We've got 5 on there. And as you can see, we've actually got 2 6s. One's clear and one's the attack dice. The attack dice will always go first. So this attack dice is actually going to go here and here. And basically, the goal of the game is for us to score points by drafting one of these in each phase. So what I would do here, as you can see on the inside, there is a cost associated with each one. So let's just talk for our first round, shall we? Okay, so the first thing that happens once you've rolled your dice and placed them is the attack dice is going to do its thing. As we're on round 1, it's not going to damage any of our plazas on the sheet. But what it is going to do is it's going to flip this festival token, meaning we're not going to be able to get the good side of it. And it's also going to flip the token it's landed on. So in round 1, it's not actually going to destroy anything on our sheet. And the way the clear dice work is that for each colour of the plaza underneath it is going to represent the colour of the dice itself. So for example, this 5 would be a yellow dice because it's on a yellow plaza. Also, the costs around the inside indicate how much money you're going to have to spend to use it. So for our first action, I think what we're going to do is we're actually just going to get 5 coins from this. So first I'm going to draft this. So this dice is a 5 and it's a yellow 5. So we could either get one of the buildings or we could use it to gain the amount of resources shown on the dice. So right now I think it's best we get 5 coins. So that's what I'm going to do. And to denote that, what we're going to do is we're going to circle each coin individually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you look at the spot that we drafted from, so if we look at the center of the wheel for the space that we just drafted the die from, it says it's got a cost of 1 of my resources. I'm actually going to spend the gold to do this action, so let's do that now. So whenever you're spending resources, you will cross them off on the sheet, like so. Also notice that we circled this here, which will mean we're going to get a yellow meeple. So here's our first yellow meeple. So basically what we're trying to do is on the white row we've got endgame scoring conditions, we've got resources on the middle row, and on the top row we've got fortresses which will defend our spaces in later rounds when the attack dice can hit us. What we're trying to do is score the most points in each in order to get a high score at the end of the game. So let's move on to our next turn, shall we? So let's see what we get for night time. Oh, so we've got 2 by here, 3, attack dice, 4, and 5. And the first thing that's going to happen with the attack dice is it's going to come out here and it's going to flip this tile for next turn. Okay, looking at what's on the board, I think what I'm going to do is actually protect my number 4 column in the red row. So we're going to take this dice, and because we took a red 4, well, technically speaking, you don't actually take the dice, you will leave them there, because if you were playing with more than one player, you know, everybody would be able to draft the same dice. But this 4 means that if I build this building here, Not only will it get me a yellow meeple, but it will also fortify the column. Now, if that attack dice would attack anything in the fourth column, it will be protected and won't actually get destroyed. So what we've just done is protect ourselves. Also, don't forget, we also got another yellow meeple. So now, it's time for us to move to round 2. And as you notice, the day and night cycle is actually going to move around the board with it. So, let's roll for round 2. So, in our day phase, we are going to get a 1 in the yellow space, a 3 by here, a 4 by here, and a 5 by here. And because it destroys this, we're going to lose our festival as well. It doesn't look like I'm going to get to show you a festival. Okay, so we still haven't taken any damage yet because we're in round 5. But I think what we might want to do is fortify our third. But as you can see, because he's flipped this tile, this now technically counts as a black dice. That's what this tile means. So even if I paid the cost, I wouldn't be able to use this one. In fact, it's going to flip this tile as well. But for us, if you notice, they're the same colour, so it doesn't really matter. So these are now 2 black dice, fundamentally, as far as the game is concerned. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the red 4 again, but I'm going to show you something cool. Okay, so if you notice over here, we can spend one of these red flag resources in order to move our dice value up by 1 or down by 1. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to fortify the 3 instead of the 4. So we're going to draw a little thing around here, gain a yellow meeple, and we're also going to gain the bonus between the 2 spaces. So that's another 2 yellow meeples. So if you look at the bottom of the sheet though, I've just crossed the threshold. So we get our 2 meeples plus one of the resources. So I think we're going to get back this red flag that we just spent. So let's just circle that at the top of the board. Also, let's not forget that actually drafting the dice cost us a resource. Okay, so round 2 nighttime. And we've got a 1, a 3, remember black always goes first, a 3, and a 4. I think what we're actually going to do is have a look at these endgame scoring conditions. Okay, so remember, to use this white 4, first we've got to play the resources in the centre. Also, we've landed on one of these plaza, but it won't really matter for us because I don't think it's going to play effect in what we're about to do. Basically, this would only take effect if I was using the die to construct a fortress, which I'm obviously not because it's a white die. So first we spend our 2 coins, and then we decide what we're going to do with this white 4. It says here that for every yellow building, we're going to acquire one of these endgame scoring, just so I can show you what they do. So I'm going to take this one here, and we're going to draw a line around there. And then if you look around the side, there's scoring conditions, and you can see the picture matches this one, which means we're now going to write a number 1 in here. This means for every building we get in this row, we're going to get 1 point for it at the end of the game. Okay, so that's our second night that with. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to round 3, which as you can see by the symbol by here is the first time the black dice is actually going to start destroying stuff on our sheet. So let's show you how that works. So first, let's roll our dice for the day. And we've got a 1, which goes here, a 4, which goes here, a 5, which goes here, and a 6, which goes here. Now, this doesn't affect the attack die, this will affect our die because it's a red die. So now we've placed our dice, and on round 3, notice that we got 5 in yellow. This means that before we start doing anything, this is actually going to destroy the yellow plaza on our sheet, and I'm going to show you that now. Because that 5 was on a yellow plaza, it means we can no longer build any buildings in this space. But it's important to note that if we had already built a building in there, it wouldn't be destroyed. This is now basically a blank space on our board. So for my turn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 2 coins to use this yellow 6. So that's 2 coins. And for yellow 6, if you notice our endgame scoring condition here, because I would like to get a point from it, I'm going to actually build this building. And also, if you notice what's inside the box, we're going to get 2 meatballs. Let's do that now. Oh look, we've crossed another threshold. This basically means that we're going to get to build one of the buildings in this box. And because of our endgame scoring condition, I think the one we're going to build is actually going to be another one of these yellow ones. So I'm going to go for this one by here. So because of that, I also crossed off this space. This will also get us to 2 meatballs. So that's 1 and 2. Okay, so that's basically how the game is played. You'll keep rolling dice and moving this spin around until you reach 8 rounds. And after the 8th round, you will total up all the scores you've got on your sheet. So each meeple would be worth 1, plus the scores in these boxes would be totaled up, so each 2 resources would be worth another point, etc. So that's basically how the game is played. I'm just going to go back to the table now and tell you what I think. Okay, so now we've had a quick look at how the game is played, it's time for me to tell you what I think. And first of all, for aesthetics, I've given this game a 9. This is mainly because I think that having stuff like this in a roll and write game, it really enhances the experience. I think that, just having the dial to spin made me enjoy it a lot more. And the dice you get are nice and chunky, and the printing on them is quite nice, and the clear dice are actually quite fun. I think they look quite pretty. So, like I said, for aesthetics, it's got a 9. Now, moving on to the gameplay, it kind of has that city builder Euro going on, but like I said, it's a roll and write. You kind of get what you expect. But I think having the physical components really does add something to it. I also like the way it changes from phases. So each turn is a day phase and a night phase. I think the way the cost changes as the rounds progress, and the fact that you have different spaces available to you is a great way to keep things interesting. So for gameplay, I've decided to give it an 8. And for accessibility, I've decided to give this one a 9 also, because it really doesn't take long to get playing. The rulebook explains things pretty well, and all the information you need to know while you're playing is generally on the sheet. So like I said, for accessibility, I've given it a 9. And that'll give this game a total score of 8.6 out of 10. That's a really good score for me. I've really been enjoying it. It's probably going to hit my table a lot more. And basically all I need to say now is, if you like what you see, please feel free to smash that subscribe button up there. Check out another one of my videos up here. I've been Johnny, you've been watching the Hexy Beast, and most of all, stay Hexy everyone!